Hello, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of Occupy Pro Wrestling Live, where we are doubling everything up tonight. We are going to quickly talk over reactions to NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver, and then we're going to get right into predictions for WrestleMania 37, or as I like to call it, WrestleMania Pirate Ship. We're doing it for real this time. I'm Alex Smiley. You can find me at Alex Smiley Plays on the Twitch. I'm joined as always by my pals and comrades. First up, Chris at T-Bone is live on the Twitch. How are you doing tonight, Chris?
Rocking and rolling. Oh gosh, it's been such a long night already. And we have a lot of wrestling this weekend. I'll be honest, all I can think about as we're in the middle of night 2 is, oh my god, there's 3 more days of this. Oh boy.
Yeah.
I'm glad I took Monday off. It's like a day to just recover from all this wrestling.
Yeah.
I even crammed Dynamite this morning. I just gotta get that out of the way. We won't talk about Dynamite this week because there's just not enough time, but it was a pretty good show. That's what I'll say on that.
And of course I'm joined by my pal James at JJ Titan Dog 70 on the Twitch. How are you doing tonight, James?
I'm good. Shoot, it was a good show. We watched the wrestling. I have a good time. We still have 3 more days of wrestling. I am more excited because I get to watch more people beat each other up. I'm happy. So let's talk about it.
I mean, yeah, that's what we're going to do. So here's what our plan tonight is. We'll go over our reactions for Takeover. We're not going to break it down match by match or anything, but I'm going to ask each and every one what they kind of liked about Takeover and maybe something they didn't like if that exists. And then we'll take a short break and then go right into our WrestleMania predictions. We got an action-packed show tonight. So James, Takeover, your reactions. I'm clapping like Bianca Belair.
Well, we go with night 1. I thought it was fantastic. My match of the night was, Walter versus Tommaso Ciampa. Walters tries to slap Ciampa, and he slaps a hole into the announcer's table.
Yeah, oh my god. I was like...
He literally put a hole in the announcer's table, a hand-shaped hole in the announcer's table. So that was the match, and I loved it. It was brilliant. His hand is hurt now, so his chops don't have the same, because he put a hole in the table. I thought that was the best match of that night. I thought it was fantastic. I loved the opening with Pete Dunne, Kushida. I thought they did a fantastic job. And then I even think for the pre-show, we saw Zoe Stark, which was beat Toni Storm. So they are very high on Zoe Stark.
Yeah.
So they're thinking about and then as we predicted, Raquel Gonzalez defeated Io Shirai, which we all predicted that was going to happen. So, and then night 2,
we did it all.
Night 2 was just as good. I loved, like I said, I thought Bronson Reed did a fantastic job. I know he lost, but he looked good. I never knew he was that agile for a big man. Doing cartwheels, moonsaults, doing a suicide dive through the ropes. How big? About 350 pounds?
Yeah. No,
that's scary.
He's a big guy for sure. Yeah,
that's scary. I don't want to see a suicide dive coming at me like that. I'll be like, run. And then I thought Cross and Finn Balor was good. And then Cole and Kyle O'Reilly tore the house down. So overall, like I said, I thought it was fantastic 2 nights of wrestling. Successful job. Takeover never disappoints.
Yep.
Chris, what about you?
Go to Alex.
All right.
Alex,
so
what about you?
I don't like to start off things on a negative, but if there's one thing I did not like about Takeover the last 2 nights, it is that they only had Poppy perform on night 2. That's the only thing that immediately comes to mind as far as things like.
You like Poppy?
I'm a big Poppy mark, but that's besides the point. But no, okay. So but kind of to James's point, I definitely think that Takeover lived up to expectations, almost in spite of the fact that they did have, they they put 2 nights worth of action, and they gave us something that was presented they had it on 2 different things last night. For example, they had it on USA Network and they had it on Peacock. That was kind of a trip to get used to because I guess you could kind of tell where they were.
What were you watching it on?
I was watching it on Peacock. I figured I finally signed up for it.
I did not realize that until and I know I'm kind of ran over here, but I did want to, since you brought it up.
Yeah.
You could definitely tell that the main broadcast was on Peacock.
Yeah.
Like when we were coming back, like
Yeah.
the USA commercials.
We're doing picture
So I
in
watched
picture.
it on USA. I watched it live on USA,
Mm-hmm.
and the commercials cut off key pivotal moments. One of the things that impaired me right
You
away
didn't get
was
the picture in picture.
not really. What we got, for example, the first thing I noticed, it was one of the matches. I think it was the gauntlet match, and there was no entrances for
they cut.
Leon Ruff and Swerve Scott. We just when the commercial came back, they were already fighting. I'm like, what the heck? When did the match start?
Yeah, on Peacock, they showed Swerve jumps Leo Ruff.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I understand that's
what
comes
happened. Out. They showed it on Peacock, the whole thing.
I'm just using that as an example. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different experience if you watched on Peacock or watched live on, USA.
Yeah. And on the flip side of that, and I am glad that we're talking about it a little bit, because on the flip side of that, we did have on Peacock, on the presentation on Peacock, whenever they were going to like the way that they kind of phrased it was, they did say, like, if you're on Peacock, you won't miss a minute of the action. If you're on USA, this is where we're going to do picture in picture. But as they were going to these breaks, they did do a very short, I want to say 3 to 5 second, like, audio silence, and then they'd go back into. But yeah, so anyways, that that's just on the presentation.
You know when it's commercial on USA because it goes into audio silence.
Yeah. So
on Peacock. And all you see is them fighting.
Right. Here's what was happening. You were watching on Peacock. You ended the show earlier than the people watching in USA because your breaks are only 30 seconds on Peacock, but our USA commercials are still 3 minutes.
Oh.
So I was actually so we have, of course, our own chats. I had to stop watching you guys because you were so far ahead.
Yeah, I wondered about that too.
I mean, you weren't that far ahead, but like in the middle of matches, you got ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like on the video package and stuff, it like caught back itself up.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were probably about a minute or two ahead if you were on Peacock.
I think that's what I was hearing
after
too.
the first commercial break.
Yeah.
But so what you like though about the show?
Okay, there were quite a few things that I liked about it. For one thing, I'm very happy that my guy Santos Escobar picked up the win and is your undisputed NXT Cruiserweight Champion.
Yeah.
Very proud of the man formerly known as Elio Del Fantasma. Beyond that, like, honestly, beyond that, the whole show was great. I really enjoyed. I also, like, kind of on a similar note, I actually quite enjoyed the fact that Bronson Reed ended up picking up the win in the gauntlet, and I think he really took Johnny Gargano to task tonight for the title. So yeah, it was a great match.
I didn't know he was that good. I knew he was good, but he looked fantastic, man, for a guy his size and the stuff that he was doing. Yeah. I was like, he's Bam Bam reborn.
He's always been great in the ring. It's just kind of inconsistent on his character, and part of it is the presentation of his stories have not been. Like, he's supposed to be feuding with LA Knight, and then that kind of went, eh. And maybe he'll switch it over.
It looks like it's LA Knight and Dexter Lumis.
Maybe. And now he's going to feud with, I guess, Isaiah Scott, perhaps. I don't know quite. But the way they kind of, it was just, or Cameron Grimes. He might feud with Cameron Grimes. And it's not based on this gauntlet match. It's based on, like, the last couple weeks of TV. Like, he's just kind of been a guy,
No. Well, I mean, I think it's time now. He's had a great showing. Get him another. I don't know who they're going to do another number one contender. They want to do a rematch or something like that. But yeah, I thought he looked great. I think they're setting him up. I don't know if they want to move him into North American, or he can move him up too. He could be challenger to Cross. He's got that size and strength.
Yeah. They just got to give him some stuff to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So honestly, there was a lot of stuff to talk about. I do think maybe at some point we'll talk more about the main event. Or about the unsanctioned fight, but I mean, aside from,
I mean, I'm all about it if you don't.
Yeah, that's fine. See, that I'm kind of like, trying to set this up a little bit, but yeah, overall, great show both nights. It was interesting to see the difference in things, and yeah, here we are. We are now at the end of a 2-night takeover. Oh my gosh!
And they still delivered a 2-night takeover, and they still delivered takeover as a fantastic show for 2 nights.
Absolutely.
I mean, Takeover really has never disappointed. I'll just switch you.
Yeah. It's fine.
Okay, Chris.
Like I kind of said in our intro, like, my God, we're gonna have between starting from last night and NXT on Tuesday, 7 nights in a row of wrestling of WWE. And that's not including any sort of like AEW Consume or NWA or Impact. No one watches Impact. Who am I kidding? Anyway,
No. Well,
actually,
people
people
who
are
watch
starting to watch
AEW watch
Impact, which is
Impact.
funny. But anyway, just like I found myself thinking this last night too, and like, oh my God, there's still 7 days of this. I found myself thinking this tonight. Oh God, there's still 6 more days of this, 5 more days, whatever it ends up being. In terms of the matches, I think probably my favorite match of the whole event, Raquel Gonzalez and Io Shirai. First off, right result.
Yeah.
Passing the belt to Raquel Gonzalez. My biggest fear was that Io Shirai was just going to follow in the footsteps of women's champions before her, where she's just so dominant that she can't drop the title legitimately. And here we are. She dropped the title legitimately. She got beat pin clean. Also, she jumped off the skull, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna put a prop on the stage, Io Shirai is jumping off. So that didn't disappoint as well. But yeah, I'm really excited for Raquel Gonzalez. There'll be some fresh stories in the women's division, and this is good because no other titles changed hands, with the exception of the tag titles because they were vacant. But now we have an opportunity for some fresh stories in the women's division. Actually, now with Killer Cross, yeah, that's what I mean. Now with Killer Cross as NXT champion, what I was trying to convey is now we have some new stories to tell because Killer Cross now has a ton of new.
It's the end of the season. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Johnny Gargano's still the NXT champion, but that's okay. The North American champion, that's okay. He's still got plenty of matches he can have. It, plus because that division's pretty stacked. They got new people coming in all the time. So lots of cool things. I think probably my biggest negative is actually that main event. So the way this rivalry sets up reminds me a lot about Gargano and Ciampa. Best friends who come to odds, who try to, because they're so close, they try to kill each other. And that's a great storytelling. I really hated that they did it in front of a crowd. And I know that we're missing crowds because of the pandemic era, but I just think back to One Final Beat and how powerful it was that there was only 2 men in the building plus the referee. So, and they just like it. You really think, oh God, they're trying to kill each other. They're trying to kill each other. When absolutely disgusting things are supposed to be happening in the ring with like Adam Cole like trying to end Kyle O'Reilly's career. The crowd is shouting, "Fight forever, fight forever," and they're piping it through the sentences. I'm like, what the hell are we doing? You're not supposed to be enjoying this as like, yeah, we wanted to fight forever. You're supposed to be watching a car crash here. You're watching Adam Cole trying to end Kyle O'Reilly's career, and this is what we're chanting and piping through the sound system. But it's not the live crowd, right? I mean, it is the live crowd, but it's not.
Well, the live crowd was doing some chanting still stuff,
right? Too. And a lot of the directions kind of getting the directions from the PA system a little bit. Like you could hear it clear in the broadcast.
Oh, there was some stuff they were saying I didn't understand at all, but.
Right, you can hear some clear off like the broadcasting. The PA system would start broadcasting a chant, and then everyone else would start doing the on the things. Like anyway, the crowd took away from this excellent match. Otherwise,
that didn't really bother me.
It bothers me because it's unsanctioned, right? So it should be treated differently because it's not a real, it's quote unquote not a real match. It's a fight. So it should be treated with the levity that it deserves.
Yeah, I do see your. Sorry to jump in. I see your point because they had even one thing.
Anyway.
One thing they brought up, one thing that they had brought up on commentary during the night or during the match was that this was only the second unsanctioned fight in NXT, and so I think when you think about the fact that we've only done this one other time, that very first time will always set the standard, will always set the bar high for anything that goes beyond it, or anything that follows it, I should say. And so, to your point, the biggest difference between that last one and this time was the fact that they still had the crowd there. Now, there's lots of. Now, it's interesting to hear. I found it interesting hearing you talking about the crowd purely because, for me personally, I didn't notice the crowd as much, but I did hear, like, there were things that I was hearing from the crowd that actually, when you brought them up, I was like, yeah, I remember that that bugged me just a little bit. The Fight Forever chant, for example, probably one like if it was any other context, absolutely.
Yeah.
But in this particular context, I don't think it worked as well. But beyond that, I think the actual match itself was like, like
there were points where the crowd was doing it right when they're heckling like Adam Cole, for example, for knocking out the referee and then getting upset when the referee can't
yes,
count the pin.
like
that's completely on him. And they say and they chanted "you screwed up," and I'm like, that's totally valid.
Yeah, no, that was
That's
good.
valid.
Yeah.
They chanted "you deserve it" at the ref, who's unconscious.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the other. That was the other one that took me out.
There are appropriate chants for this match if we're gonna have a crowd, and there are inappropriate ones because we need to suspend disbelief. These are two men literally. In the story that we've been told is that Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole want to end each other's careers. We should not be celebrating that.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, the dueling chants of "Let's go O'Reilly, let's go Cole."
Fine.
That's cool. But Fight Forever, you deserve it.
I actually,
it's not the right tone.
I actually have to address.
Oh, that's what you feel about.
So shame on you, CWC crowd.
Hey,
that's what you get.
And Kevin Dunn for piping in those. I don't even know.
Dunn does not work. Dunn doesn't do.
We're gonna blame him anyways.
We're gonna blame him anyway for piping in those chants to make them cheer it.
The problem with the crowd is, and it's always been an issue, is sometimes the crowd doesn't go the way the workers want to go.
Which is kind of weird just because of the context of this particular crowd. Because it's not like they brought in fans. Well, I guess they did some to some extent.
They brought some fans.
Primarily,
the ones in the front row are still part of the performance center. They're in the front row banging the thing.
Now,
the fans are kind of in the back.
Right.
Well, no, there's just family of the wrestlers in the crowd. There's no outside fans.
Right. Now,
there were a few, but they had to go through past the test.
Now the one main thing I do want to address, and I'm actually really glad Chris brought it up, because the only thing that bugged me more than the Fight Forever chant was the "You Deserve It" chant at the ref. I was like, that's weird. I didn't realize we were at an indie show, because this is the kind of behavior I expected at an indie show.
Yeah, that was an indie show chant. Yeah, I've been to enough indie shows. That was an indie show chant. Yeah, I've been to enough indie shows. That's what you do at an indie show.
Like
chant.
those moments were definitely.
Like, you're supposed to reserve the "you deserve it" chance for a heel complaining about getting their comeuppance on the mic.
Yeah. It's like
when Chris Jericho gets beat up, he's like, "You deserve it." No, I don't. He got beat up by Orange Cassidy.
No, right, exactly, stuff like that. Yeah, but it's
that's
just
an
like
indie show chant. That's because what you do is the crowd sometimes doesn't like the ref when the ref is yelling, "Oh, well, you want to quit? Stop it." The crowd hears that on an indie show and they get mad at the ref. And they're like, "Oh, just hit him" or something like that. So
right.
But yeah, anyway,
I care about kayfabe more than the average fan, I think. So like,
I get your.
Why it bothers
I know that's why I guess that's why I wanted to bring it up, because I'm like those moments specifically, I can see exactly what.
Shame on all of you who chanted "Fight Forever."
So
they were gonna kill each other. It was gonna be murder.
On the flip side of the whole thing with the crowd stuff, let's talk for.
No, it was a great match.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine.
Like, let's not take away from that. It was a great match.
Yeah, it's a great match. I thought it was a great way to move Adam Cole out of NXT. He basically I was talking to Alex.
They literally stretchered him out.
They stretchered him out. I love that.
He's gonna show up on Smackdown next week.
Heaven help us if they do.
Maybe not next week, but after. Yeah, maybe. Well, the day after WrestleMania. But
they did that with Matt Riddle gets stretchered out, and then he showed up on Raw the next.
Possibly.
That was stupid. They should have waited.
Or something like that, or maybe it was Damian Priest. I don't remember. Someone got stretchered out in NXT. Oh, it was Rhea Ripley. That's right. And then she showed back up.
No, she didn't. Well, no, it took Rhea Ripley like a few weeks.
Well, no, this was back in like November.
No, you know who? I was gonna say I know, like, because they basically found a way to write Dijak off of NXT, and then obviously.
Dijak, you're right. That's even worse.
He showed up as
broke his neck, and then he shows up in Retribution.
And there's our one for the night.
Well, we got our one Retribution. There we go. But no. So overall, though, I thought it was a fantastic match.
Let's wrap this up then. Let's give it a grade. Grade quick, James. Grade.
So yeah, my grade's an A. I like both nights.
No plus.
I will say this: maybe night one could have been a little bit better than night two, but they both were fantastic for me. I thought it was a great show, great variety of different matches. So I say A for both nights.
Alex?
Yep. Like one of my favorite Emma Stone films, this is an easy A for me. Overall, great matches, great moments. Yeah. Yeah, it's an A. Sorry,
All right. No, it's good. This is just kind of how we're wrapping up, and then we're going to go to our WrestleMania predictions. For me, I'm going to do A- because the crowd was awful in the main event, and I kind of soured on it. I think they should have ended with the NXT title, personally. But other than that, like, all the matches are good. Everyone performed. Like, I'd never have a complaint about the performers. Nothing's ever their fault. It's usually bad writing or bad booking.
Yeah.
Or apparently bad crowds now.
Right.
Well, especially NXT. NXT's like I said, Takeover has never been wrong.
I think if they had real fans, it might have been different. I think because they had fake fans, they were like, let's be an indie crowd.
Pretty much.
They took it too far. I think that's what happened there.
Yeah, that's how.
I went to some backwater show in Jacksonville, Florida, and like, we should do this.
Yeah. Trust me, I've been enough of those. Yeah.
All right.